Highland Baptist Church, one of the largest churches in Redmond, Oregon, began in a living room more than 9 decades ago. At the end of the 1920s, a group of faithful families in the unincorporated farming community of Lone Pine, Oregon began meeting in a private home to pray and worship together. In 1930, that first congregation moved from a living room to holding services in the old Lone Pine schoolhouse. They then bought a one-room building and had it moved to Lone Pine for services and events. After the Depression and World War II, the community of Lone Pine had changed. Many people had moved away. The 14 members remaining at Lone Pine Missionary Baptist Church had a strong desire to do God's will, and in October of 1951 they held a revival in the American Legion Hall in Redmond. God made it clear that a new church should be started in Redmond, 12 miles from Lone Pine. From that revival, the church grew to 50 members and the Missionary Baptist Church of Redmond was organized. On October 13, 1951, the members purchased the old Methodist Church on the corner of 8th Street and Forest Avenue. Everyone worked hard cleaning up the church to get it ready for their first Sunday service. But that first service was the only service held in that building. On January 10, 1952, a fire destroyed the structure. For 6 months, while a new building was being built on that property, services were held in the Simmons home on 10th Street. In March of 1953, the name was changed to Forest Avenue Baptist Church, and in November of 1954, they voted to affiliate with the Southern Baptist Convention, which was just getting started in the Pacific Northwest. In 1955, a fire destroyed the interior of the new Forest Avenue building. During these times of struggle, the people never lost sight of their goal to share God's Word with the community. God was building faith in each member of the church and blessed them as they grew. After pastor changes and revivals, the space was not big enough. So in 1982, they began to pledge money and broke ground for the addition of a new auditorium and more classrooms. In 1996, the membership started looking into adding on to the existing building again. As the men and women took on this project through prayer with the desire of doing God's will, he began to make it clear that the church should move out of the downtown area to a place where there would be fewer limitations to expansion. The people of Forest Avenue Baptist purchased 12 acres of land on Highway 126, just a mile west of Redmond. God opened the doors to start the construction of a new church building on that property, which became Highland Baptist Church. The congregation moved into the building in June of 2002. The new church was situated on the edge of a growing area of Redmond. God put a desire in the hearts of the people of Highland Baptist to reach out not only to the surrounding area, but to the entire community. In the following year, they purchased and distributed a Bible to each home in Redmond. It was a great experience that opened up many spiritual conversations and continued the growth of the church. The new building on Highland had been built with expansion in mind, and the next building step was just 10 years later when another capital campaign was launched. That project expanded the worship center with the addition of a larger lobby and youth and children's wings. The project was completed in November of 2016. In the summer of 2019, a campaign called Next, Forward in Faith was launched to raise funds to follow the Lord into the next step of reaching Central Oregon for Christ. This included making improvements to the current Redmond campus, supporting Twin Rivers Community Church in purchasing a permanent location for a church building in Crooked River Ranch, and making plans to launch a church in Bend. Twin Rivers Community Church broke ground for their new building on March 21st of 2021, and church leadership is continuing to pray about the developing plans for the church in Bend. As we move through the current decade, we celebrate our history, how God used just a few families willing to follow Him in obedience to grow His church in Redmond and Greater Central Oregon. We look forward to following wherever His amazing plans take us.